Hello, and welcome to the video. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Scott Hall gained recognition for his time in WCW using both his actual name and the ring name Razor Ramon during his tenure with the WWF. Hall embarked on his professional journey in 1984. He gained considerable recognition when he inked a contract with the WWF in May 1992, adopting the moniker Razor Ramon. During his tenure with the organization, he achieved victory in the WWF Intercontinental Championship on 4 occasions. In May 1996, he parted ways with the company and went on to join WCW, a rival wrestling promotion. He played a pivotal role as one of the founding members of the New World Order faction, alongside Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash. During his time with the company, he achieved great success, holding the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship on 2 occasions, as well as winning the WCW World Television Championship once and the WCW World Tag Team Championship a remarkable 7 times. In February 2000, he decided to part ways with WCW and made a brief return to the WWF, now known as WWE, in 2002. Throughout his career, he competed in various wrestling promotions including ECW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and TNA. During his time in TNA, he held the TNA World Tag Team Championship alongside Kevin Nash and Eric Young. In June 2016, he participated in his final match. Although he never attained a world championship in a prominent promotion, he did hold the WWC Universal Heavyweight Championship once for the Puerto Rico-based World Wrestling Council. In 2014, he was honored with induction into the WWE Hall of Fame as a singles competitor. Additionally, in 2020, he was recognized as a member of the NWO. Scott Hall's personal journey was far from glamorous, and his life took a tragic turn after the traumatic incident in January 1983. The wrestling career of Scott Hall didn't always involve glitz and glamour, and unfortunately, his life was forever changed by the traumatic event that occurred in January 1983. After successfully disarming an individual involved in a confrontation outside a nightclub in Orlando, Florida, Hall found himself facing second-degree murder charges when he used the assailant's own firearm to shoot him in the head. Hall maintained that this act was in self-defense. Luckily for Hall, the charges against him were eventually dismissed due to insufficient evidence. In a 2011 interview with ESPN, Hall revealed that the incident continued to haunt him, leaving an indelible mark on his memory.
A guy pulled a gun on me, and I took it away from him and shot him, point blank with a .45 caliber. A guy's dead, and I'm the reason, and this is bad.
Next up is Duleep Singh Rana. He was born on August 27, 1972, and is a former professional wrestler and wrestling promoter from India. He is widely recognized under his ring name as the Great Khali. His most notable achievement was becoming the first ever Indian-born World Heavyweight Champion during his time in WWE. In 2000, he began his journey in the world of professional wrestling as Giant Singh. He entered the world of professional wrestling under his ring name. His debut took place in October 2000 for All Pro Wrestling, where he teamed up with Tony Jones to face off against the West Side Players. After arriving in San Francisco, Rana entered into a contractual agreement with the World Championship Wrestling. He remained with them for a duration of 8 months, until their competitor, the World Wrestling Federation, acquired WCW. After that, Giant Singh would go on to work for New Japan Pro Wrestling, CMLL in Mexico, and All Japan Pro Wrestling, until 2006 when he caught the attention of the now-branded WWE. On January 2, 2006, Rana joined WWE and was designated to compete in their developmental federation, Deep South Wrestling, where he showcased his skills using his given name. With Daivari serving as his manager, the unidentified Singh made his first appearance on WWE television as a villain during the April 7th episode of SmackDown. He viciously attacked The Undertaker, leaving him defenseless during his match against Mark Henry. Khali had his first in-ring match on the April 21st episode of SmackDown, where he emerged victorious over Funaki. The Undertaker challenged Khali to a last man standing match at SummerSlam on August 20th. The match was later moved to SmackDown just before SummerSlam, and The Undertaker emerged victorious, marking Khali's first definitive loss in WWE. During the June 11th episode of Raw, as part of the 2007 WWE Draft, Khali was selected to join the SmackDown brand as their top pick. In July, Khali initiated a rivalry with Batista, and they were set to face off at the Great American Bash. However, due to Edge's injury resulting in him vacating the World Heavyweight Championship, a 20-man battle royal took place on the July 20th edition of SmackDown. In an impressive move, Khali eliminated both Kane and Batista, securing his first ever World Heavyweight Championship victory. Khali would remain in WWE until 2014, having numerous feuds, but would never again have the push he got when he first arrived in 2006. He would retire from in-ring competition in 2014 and return to India as a celebrity. Khali made his comeback on April 27, 2018, participating in the Greatest Royal Rumble match for another opportunity to compete. He managed to stay in the ring for less than a minute before getting eliminated. This marked his last appearance in WWE up to this point. In 2021, he received the esteemed honor of being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. However, let's rewind some years to May 28, 2001. Brian Ong tragically passed away as a result of a wrestling maneuver performed by Singh. Prior to this incident, Ong had already suffered a concussion during the training session. However, despite his injury, the trainers evaluated him to have a lower risk and advised him to continue with his training. It was later discovered that Ong had not been provided with any protective gear or supervision from the All Pro Wrestling staff. Unfortunately, this second concussion proved to be fatal. Ong's family filed a lawsuit against APW, holding them responsible for his untimely death. After less than a day of deliberations, APW was found liable for their reckless actions and ordered to pay the Ong family damages amounting to over $1.3 million. James Ryer, also known by his ring name Jimmy Superfly Snuka, was a professional wrestler and alleged murderer of Fijian and American descent. Snuka competed for various wrestling organizations from the 1970s to the 2010s. His most notable tenure was with the World Wrestling Federation in the 1980s, during which he gained recognition for popularizing the high-flying wrestling technique. In 1996, he was honored with induction into the WWF Hall of Fame. Additionally, Snuka achieved the distinction of being the first ever ECW World Heavyweight Champion in Eastern Championship Wrestling, which later became Extreme Championship Wrestling, holding the title on 2 separate occasions. It is worth mentioning that both of his children, Sim Snuka and Tamina Snuka, have followed in his footsteps and pursued careers as professional wrestlers. In January of 1982, Snuka made his debut in the WWF as a character portrayed as a villain, with Captain Lou Albano as his mentor. Snuka had multiple opportunities to compete for the WWF Championship title against Bob Backlund, but was unsuccessful in securing the victory. One notable match took place on June 28, 1982, at Madison Square Garden, where Snuka attempted a daring move by leaping from the top of the steel cage. However, he missed his target as Backlund managed to evade the attack, rolling out of harm's way and ultimately winning the match by escaping the cage. Despite Snuka's portrayal as a violent antagonist, he managed to gain a loyal following due to his impressive athleticism. In 1982, a storyline unfolded where Buddy Rogers informed Snuka that Albano was swindling him financially. Consequently, Snuka made the decision to terminate Albano as his manager. During the ensuing feud with Albano, Freddie Blassie, and Ray Stevens, Snuka enlisted the services of Rogers as his new manager. This strategic move cemented Snuka's transformation into a beloved hero determined to settle the score. Snuka emerged victorious in the majority of his matches against Stevens and also faced off against other wrestlers affiliated with Albano. In a momentous showdown at Madison Square Garden, Snuka triumphed over Albano in a steel cage match. Snuka also had a rivalry with Don Muraco in 1983. It all started when Snuka entered the ring for a match against Don Kernodle on the June 18th episode of Championship Wrestling while Muraco, who was the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, was being interviewed. Muraco, furious about what he perceived as disrespect, confronted Snuka at ringside, resulting in a chaotic brawl. This feud reached its pinnacle on October 17, 1983, in a steel cage match at Madison Square Garden. Although Snuka lost the match, he made a lasting impact by dragging Muraco back into the ring and executing his famous Superfly Splash from the top of the 15-foot high steel cage. Snuka would also compete in many other promotions over the years, including ECW, where he would be the first ever champion, but we can leave that for another day. But today we will be taking a look at the darker side of his life when on May 10, 1983, just a few hours after his victory over Jose Estrada at a WWF television taping, Snuka made an urgent call for medical assistance. When the emergency personnel arrived, they discovered that his girlfriend, Nancy Argentino, had sustained injuries. She was swiftly transported to Sacred Heart Medical Center in Allentown, where she tragically passed away due to undisclosed craniocerebral trauma. According to the report from the coroner, Argentino, aged 23, succumbed to severe brain injuries consistent with the impact of a moving head against a stationary object. The autopsy results reveal that Argentino had over 25 cuts and bruises on various parts of her body, including her head, ear, chin, arms, hands, back, buttocks, legs, and feet. These injuries strongly suggest the presence of severe domestic abuse. Dr. Isidore Mihalakis, the forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsy, stated that the case should be treated as a potential homicide unless proven otherwise. It is worth noting that Snuka had previously been arrested for assaulting Argentino on January 18, 1983. While Argentino initially sought legal action against Snuka, she later decided against it. However, a recently released file from the murder investigation includes an officer's note suggesting that Vince McMahon attempted to dissuade her from filing a complaint against Snuka. This has led investigative journalist David Bixenspan to speculate about McMahon's involvement in the matter. Although no charges were filed against Snuka at the time, the case remained officially unresolved. On June 28, 2013, Lehigh County District Attorney Jim Martin declared that his team would review the still active case. Snuka was taken into custody on September 1, 2015, 32 years after the incident, and accused of third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter in connection with Argentino's death. On November 2, 2015, Snuka entered a plea of not guilty in front of Judge Kelly Bonnock. In May 2016, a hearing commenced to assess Snuka's ability to stand trial. Snuka's legal team argued that a forensic psychologist had determined that his mental and physical health were deteriorating on June 1, 2016. Bonnock declared that Snuka was not mentally capable of standing trial for the murder and scheduled a re-evaluation of his competencies 6 months later, despite his attorneys asserting that his condition would not improve with time. On January 3, 2017, Bonnock dismissed the charges, ruling that Snuka was mentally unfit to stand trial. Snuka's prognosis was revealed, stating that he was in hospice care with a terminal illness and had an estimated 6 months remaining. He passed away on January 15, 2017, at the age of 73 in Pompano Beach, Florida. Thank you for making it this far, and we will end with the worst ever tragedy to occur in the wrestling world. Christopher Michael Benoit, a professional wrestler from Canada, had a successful 22-year career in various pro wrestling promotions. He was known for his time in the WWF and later the WWE, as well as in WCW and ECW in the United States. Benoit also competed in New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stampede Wrestling in his home country of Canada. The professional wrestling industry is deeply divided when it comes to Benoit's legacy, mainly due to his acts of murder. Many people recognize Benoit for his remarkable skills in technical wrestling. On June 25, 2007, the police entered the residence of Benoit in Fayetteville, Georgia, following a request from WWE, Benoit's employers, for a welfare check. This was prompted by Benoit's unexplained absence from weekend events, causing concern. At approximately 2:30 p.m., the officers made a grim discovery: the lifeless bodies of Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their 7-year-old son Daniel. Further investigation determined that Benoit was responsible for the heinous acts. He had taken the lives of his wife and son over a span of 3 days before taking his own life. Prior to the murder, Benoit had bound his wife, while his son was given Xanax to render him unconscious before being strangled. Benoit ultimately ended his life by hanging himself on his lat pull-down machine. The toxicology reports, which were made public on July 17, 2007, disclosed that Nancy had 3 different drugs present in her body at the time of her death: Xanax, hydrocodone, and hydromorphone. However, these substances were detected at therapeutic levels rather than toxic concentrations. Conversely, Daniel's system showed the presence of Xanax, leading the chief medical examiner to speculate that he had been sedated prior to being killed. Benoit's toxicology results revealed the presence of Xanax, hydrocodone, and an abnormally high level of testosterone, which was caused by a synthetic variant of the hormone. Following the tragic incident of a double murder-suicide, Christopher Nowinski, a neuroscientist and retired professional wrestler, reached out to Michael Benoit, the father of Chris, proposing that the years of trauma to his son's brain could have contributed to his actions. Julian Bales, the head of neurosurgery at West Virginia University, conducted tests on Benoit's brain, which revealed that it had suffered extensive damage, resembling the brain of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. After the true extent of Benoit's actions came to light, WWE chose to eliminate almost all references to Chris Benoit from their website. Sadly, we will never know what really happened to Benoit to make him snap. We can only hope that it will never happen again. Well, there you have it, folks. That was the 4 most famous or infamous killings in the wrestling world that I am aware of. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please be sure to subscribe, as it really helps my channel to grow. And if there is someone or something you would like me to cover, why not add a comment below and I will see what I am able to do.
Some folks let their family ties choke them like a noose, but not me, my friend. No, not me, my friend. No, no, not me. Not me. We all got to die, and when it's my time, I'm gonna die living. Die living. So give me wings and I